Hi friends, welcome back to Sheena's Homestead. If you're new here, I'm Sheena and this is my homestead. Today I have an epic episode for you. You remember when I told you before that I did a whole cooking extravaganza freezer meal prep and my memory card corrupted, so I actually lost the entire thing. But it wasn't a complete loss because we had 24 meals in our freezer and we were able to eat all of those for a whole month and I didn't have to cook, so that was amazing. But now I am filming this for you and it's going to be bigger and better than ever. So the things that we are making today are taco paella, $1 million spaghetti, sloppy joes, broccoli chicken casserole, chicken tortilla bake, a potluck taco casserole, and beef and pepper skillet. I'm really excited about these. They all taste very different, but they have a lot of the same ingredients in them. So that is why I paired them together for us, because it'll be easy to put all of them together and into your freezer, but it's awesome to have different tastes, different types of meals, not all the same genre. So I'm really excited about today. Let's get started. We are going to cook 2 chickens. I'm going to roast them. We are going to cook, I believe, 8 pounds of ground beef. Yep, 8 pounds of ground beef. I'm making 4 cups of brown rice, and we're gonna cut up all of our ingredients, chop things up, get them all set and ready. We are going to finish assembling these meals tomorrow. So this will be a 2-day process. You could easily do this in 1 day. I just have a lot to do with the kids in their homeschool. So we're breaking this up into 2 days. But if you have more time on your hands, this is easily attainable to do all of this in 1 day if you have a solid 5 to 6 hours. Which, when you think about it, if you're making meals for an entire month, 5 to 6 hours really isn't a lot of time. It's just dedicating 1 day's worth of good work, and then you have a lot of food for the rest of your month. So let's get started. First things first, we're gonna roast up some of our chicken. I have 2 whole chickens here. So I'm gonna get these in my roasting pan and into the oven. And then I have a whole bunch of ground beef that I am going to cook up as well. So those will be the main sources of protein in our meals that we're about to bake. And I am really excited. So your best bet with these freezer meals is to prep yourself really well. So I'm going to be cooking all the meat, cutting up all the vegetables that I need, getting all of our onions chopped, things like that. Okay, so we are going to check on our chicken. Oh, that is looking perfect. Chicken's done. I'm actually just gonna pop the oven open just a little bit and let that cool down. And at the same time, it'll heat up our house a little bit. So this here is one of my favorite tools. It is from the Pampered Chef, and I've had it quite a long time. I'm sure they still sell it. I don't know what it's called from the Pampered Chef, but Rob loves to call it my slap chop because it's literally what it does. So you just do. I don't usually use it for onions. I usually use it for carrots and celery, but since we're doing a big cooking day and this is already a dirtied tool, I'm going to use it for onions as well. Okay, so now we are going to put these all in here as my eyes are watering. All right. Now to start on our yellow onions. And I'm going to put the garlic right here next to the onions, save some space in the fridge, and just keep it all together because we're going to use it as a pair when we cook anyway. Okay, we're all set. So before I close this up and put it away, I'm actually going to add olive oil so that it can soak in that overnight. Plus it keeps it nice and hydrated. So now we're gonna pull out our chicken and just let it rest over here. Perfect. Ooh, there's some really good juices in there. We will save that. And now we're going to start on our brown rice. So I buy this quick cook from Trader Joe's. See that? All right, so now we have the rice going, we have this going, and now I'm gonna brown up our ground beef. I have quite a lot of ground beef here. We are just gonna start getting it in our pan so we can cook it. I'm going to season this meat with some salt and some garlic powder. Leave this on the medium side of done. There's still some pink in there, and that's okay because all of our meals are going to be cooked again after we assemble them, freeze them, and then pull them back out. So I'm good with that. We're going to start round two. I'm going to put all of this into this bowl here. too. We'll add our salt. And garlic powder. I know we're putting fresh garlic in, but it doesn't matter. This helps season our meat, and there's never a time that garlic isn't good for you. So I put it in all the time. Plus, I like the layers of flavor. I think that the garlic powder provides a different flavor than fresh garlic, so I like to have both. Okay, our rice is done, so we are going to transfer that to this bowl. Perfect. And then we're just going to keep tossing this beef here. We're going to get our broccoli all chopped up here too. As long as you cut the stems small enough, you can use those in your food too. And they are healthy, but this big giant chunk is gonna go to the chickens. So they'll have a nice little treat. Okay, so we're moving right along here, and I'm just gonna keep making as many of the components as we need for tomorrow. The more I can do today, the easier tomorrow is going to be. So hopefully when we get to tomorrow morning, all we have to do is assemble. That would make things really easy. So for right now, I think I'm gonna start on the bolognese sauce. I did do a video on this, so I will link that down below so that you can just jump to that video if you wanna make this part step by step along with me. Otherwise, right now you can just watch me cook. Okay, first things first, I'm gonna add our olive oil. I'm gonna put in some garlic here. And our onions. We're doubling this recipe. A pinch of salt. You know me, we just put garlic in, but we are going to add powdered garlic. Gives it another layer of flavor. Of course, we have our organic Italian seasoning. I'm gonna put what's left of this in. Add in our celery. Okay, and now we add our carrots too. It smells so good. Now we're gonna add in our cooked ground beef. If you were just making this from scratch, you could just put your raw ground beef in and then cook it till it's brown. But today we already did that step for ourselves. So now we are going to add some red wine. I'm going to put about 2 cups in. Oh, look at that. We're just going to put the rest of the bottle in. And we're going to let that cook down until the alcohol is cooked off and we're left with just the flavor. So that'll take just a little bit. Just coming over here to grab myself some fresh basil. Just picking the more mature leaves. Oh, it smells so good. Yes. Thank you, little plants. Okay, I've got all my fresh parsley chopped and ready to go. And we're just gonna give a rough chop to our basil. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. All of this is going to go straight into our sauce. sauce is cooking off all that red wine. I can still smell it, so we're gonna let it go a little longer here. We're gonna add some tomato paste. I have diced tomatoes. Probably should have used a larger pot. Another tomato sauce. We are going to let that cook down. Last but not least, we're going to add our basil and our parsley. And we're just going to let this cook for a couple of hours. All of those flavors marry and become one big happy family. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do in preparation for tomorrow is chop up a whole bunch of bell peppers. We are going to use them in quite a few of our recipes. So we have the taco paella. We'll definitely need it for that. I might put some in the sloppy joes, and let's see, we got broccoli, chicken casserole, chicken tortilla bake. Yeah, we're gonna chop up all the bell peppers and we're gonna put them in a lot of stuff. So let's get started on that. Looking really good. Liliana is going to take a little taste test.
The skillet could be hot.
It's not, honey. I wouldn't let you get burned. What do you think?
No.
Double thumbs up. Yay! Lil approved. Okay friends, so I'm just gonna show you the things that we've put together today. I took these 2 roasted chickens, shredded all the meat that is here waiting for us for tomorrow. We made 3 cups of brown rice. We're gonna use that. We've got our cut up bell peppers, our cut up onions with garlic. We have red onions. I have this giant bowl of ground beef, which we're going to use it in a couple recipes tomorrow. Let's see what else. Oh, we chopped up our broccoli, so we've got that ready. And we made our bolognese sauce, which is looking extra delicious. So we are going to let this keep cooking. And I'm going to get all the other things put into the fridge so that we can start off our day tomorrow together bright and early and we can get a lot done. Okay, so another thing I figured I would do right now, since I have the 2 chickens that we roasted and I've got all the drippings left in the pan, I am going to make my own condensed chicken soup. I do not use the canned stuff. There are far too many chemicals in that. It's just really not good for you. And once you've made this homemade kind, you'll never go back. So we're gonna do that today in preparation for tomorrow. So first we are going to melt 8 tablespoons of butter. I am making 2 times this recipe, so I'm doubling it. You can use just 4 if you were making 1 serving, but it's always better to make more and save it for yourself for later. Okay, Okay, so now I have my milk and I actually put it in the microwave for a minute because we want to temper it to bring it up to a closer temperature to the butter. You want to just continuously whisk. All right. Then we are going to grab our flour, and again you want to keep whisking so that you get a nice even consistency. Nice. Okay, so these are just drippings from our roasted chicken, which I'm using in place of like a bouillon cube. So we're gonna mix that in. So now we're gonna add a little bit of garlic powder, some celery salt, my husband loves the taste of celery salt, so we're going to use quite a bit there. Some onion powder. And then, of course, some salt. And some pepper. Whisk this together. I'm going to get it back on the heat. We try not to let anything go to waste around here. All those drippings from the 2 chickens we roasted are now in this pan. And all those flavors are coming together. We're not wasting one little bit. We're also not putting terrible chemicals into our body. Really, if you haven't looked at the ingredients of like a Campbell's soup, cream of mushroom, you really should. I have talked about this before on my channel, but if you look up Food Babe, just Google Food Babe and cream of chicken. I mean, she'll do a whole segment on how terrible it is for you. You really don't want those things in your body. So do yourself a favor, and when you're doing a big cooking day like this, use every bit of all that you have. Look at that. That is perfect. Remember, the trick here is just to keep whisking. Okay, we are going to try this together. Holy cow, you will not believe how good this tastes. I mean, I could eat this just the way it is. It is so good. I promise you, you'll never go back to canned once you try this. It is an absolute must. So good. And you get to control how much salt is in it. I start off with very little because I like to add salt to the final recipe, so I try not to put it in the soup. My goodness, you have got to try that, my friend. So you guys know how I'm always telling you to save your old jars. Well, this is why. So I'm putting this in this jar. We can keep it in the fridge up to 4 months, but we are going to use all of it tomorrow, and it is liquid gold. Okay, so now I am going to take all the rest of the leftover drippings here, and I'm going to put them in a little Ziploc bag and freeze them. That way I can make myself some more condensed cream of chicken soup whenever I want to. You want to avoid the big chunks. You just want to get kind of that golden gel type stuff. Put it right in your Ziploc bag. If you have little molds like or ice cube trays, that would work too. You don't want to let any of this go to waste. This is how people cooked for generations. It's only recently that we have lost our ability to use up everything that we have, everything that is available to us. And it is my goal to teach my family how to bring some of those things back. I think it's respectful to the animal. Obviously, it's respectful to God. And it's much healthier too. Okay friends, well that is it for today. I'm going to get all of this stuff put into the refrigerator and I will see you tomorrow. Good morning friends. We are back today with part 2 of our freezer meal episode. Last night I went to Trader Joe's because I realized I didn't have any ricotta cheese. So we made another stop, which is never too hard for us. We love Trader Joe's, as you know. So we bought some flowers because we couldn't pass them up. Look how beautiful. So I'm just gonna get these put in a vase. We've had quite the busy morning. We're just doing some schoolwork, getting breakfast, all those kinds of things. My favorite breakfast is, and I have this almost every single day, a cut up apple with some peanut butter and blister peanuts on the top. This is what those look like. Oh, it's upside down, but they are the kind of peanuts that you would put like on a sundae or eat at a ball game. They're really delicious. And I eat that almost every single day. So I've had my breakfast and the kids are getting their work done and we are gonna start assembling our freezer meals really soon. I'm very excited. But in the meantime, I am going to get these flowers all arranged and in this vase so that we can enjoy them today. I love fresh flowers all year round, but I especially love them in January, February, and March when the weather is quite gloomy. Always brightens up the day. So I'm just gonna cut all the stems at an angle so we get a nice fresh opening at the bottom for them to absorb their water. And cutting at an angle helps to get them more water. Just beautiful. The next thing I do is just clean these roses up a bit. Take off all the extra leaves so that they only have to take care of the flower head. They don't have to water their leaves as well. It's just a little tip I learned from a florist. And then you can take off some of the older petals as well. Clean them up just a bit. I always think of children as flowers. Each child is unique and beautiful. We just have to help make sure that they get to their full potential. And that means cleaning up the undesired parts, the parts that might hinder their true inner beauty if left unchecked, and just all that love and care goes into building a child Same love and care goes into a beautiful flower. Sometimes I put tape across the top of my vase to hold the flowers, but when I know it's going to be a tight fit, sometimes I don't do that. Like today, I know that they're all going to fit in there just fine. There shouldn't be any extra space. So, just going to place them in. Getting quite windy outside. We are expecting snow, and the forecasters have said anywhere between 0 inches and 19 inches. I'm not kidding. Really, that's what they said on the news. Different models are showing different things, and I guess for some reason this storm has been really difficult to predict because it's kind of like a cyclone spiral coming out of the Gulf of Mexico and then straight up, which is not usually how we get our weather. Our weather usually comes from the west toward, from like the Colorado onto the plains. But this one is coming straight up from the Gulf of Mexico and apparently is really, really unpredictable. But you all know how much I love snow. I love snow as long as it's in the winter. When we're into springtime, like true spring, as in April, and we're still getting snow, then I'm a little annoyed. But right now, it's totally fine. So I'm really excited, and I hope we get 19 inches. Kids and I are just at home hanging out, enjoying life, and I think they'd be really happy to get a nice good snowstorm. Look how beautiful. They make me so happy. Let's get started on our cooking now. Yesterday we cooked 2 chickens. We roasted them actually. We browned up, I think it was 8 pounds of ground beef. We cut up bell peppers and made our cream of chicken soup, which is out of this world. We made it from the renderings of our roasted chicken. Nothing around here gets wasted. I had Rob try that last night and he was super full from dinner. So he was a little reluctant to try, but I made him try it and he was like, oh my gosh, it's so good. So I'm really excited that we've tried that, made that, and that's a new thing added to our list. And I've got all of our canned goods out here for today's meals. So now we are really gonna get cooking, literally. So, meals that we are making today. Taco paella. It's not really paella. But Rob calls it taco paella and it's just something that is stuck. It is a tater tot casserole with all taco ingredients inside. So it's just a fun nickname for one of our favorite dishes and I can't wait to show you. $1 million spaghetti. It really is $1 million dish. When I first heard of it, I thought, really? Like spaghetti just thrown in a pan and eaten later? Like that just doesn't sound great. We've always made our spaghetti fresh, cook it, eat it right away. This really is a very, very good meal. All the kids approve, which usually there's someone who doesn't like something, but $1 million spaghetti, $1 million meal. Sloppy Joes, can't go wrong with Sloppy Joes. And it's a fun meal that you can pull out and use in appetizers when you're in a pinch. So really a great thing to have in the freezer. Fourth, broccoli chicken casserole. That one is a little self-explanatory and it's delicious. So moving forward, we have chicken tortilla bake. This one is awesome. I'm super excited to see how this turns out. This recipe was in Taste of Home and was one of the top recipes in a competition, so I'm sure it's phenomenal. Then we have potluck taco casserole. It's different than taco paella, but if you like Mexican food, it's golden. And the last one is a beef and pepper skillet. So yesterday you saw all the things that we cooked and put together. A lot of these recipes use a lot of the same ingredients. The best part is they're all very different. It's a really great way to put all 7 of these different recipes into your meal rotation lineup. They taste different, but it gives a really great variety, but you still use some of the same ingredients, so it's easy to prep in this way. So first things first, we are going to start with our taco paella. For this one, we're going to use this giant bowl to mix up everything, and we are going to start with some ground beef. We are making 4 taco paellas, and my 4 are going to fit into just 2 pans. So what I'm going to do with this, like this would be 1 serving, 2 servings. I will bake this and then we will use it for 2 nights. So I will have leftovers the second night. So I'm going to make just 2 pans of these, but that's because we're a big family. If you're a smaller family, I would suggest something half the size of that, more like an 8x8. I am one of those self-taught home cooks. I rarely measure things. I eyeball quite a bit, and my tip for you is to not be afraid in the kitchen to try new things and to experiment with what you have. Just because a recipe has something that you don't have, it's not set in stone. You can try whatever you like. Maybe you'll invent something even better. So we're gonna use the rest of this corn here. It is frozen, and I'm going to leave it that way because we're just gonna freeze these meals anyway. And I think the moisture will be good when we are re-cooking. And next, we are going to put in some of our red onion, just like that. And out of our yellow onion here, I'm going to add a little bit of that, but also some of the garlic that we put in here. Perfect. Get that mixed up. And then we are going to use some brown rice. I talk about these bowls a lot. They are super helpful. So then we are going to take our Southwest taco mix and just put in a little bit of water. Put in our mix here. Spin. And then we have our red enchilada sauce. We're gonna put this can into this mixture, and then the other one is going to go on top with the tater tots. we have here. I also have these potato poppers. You could use this too. These are left over from our Super Bowl party, you remember. But hey, why not use them? They're basically the same thing. Okay. I just wanted to see if we really needed them, but I think we do. I'm gonna fill up any of that space there. Here we go. I'm gonna give this a little mix. And then we are going to drizzle it over the top. And then before you bake this, you just top it with cheese. I'm not going to put the cheese on it today since we're not cooking it today. I don't want the cheese to dry out in the freezer. Look at us, we've already got 2 down. So since we already have this bowl dirty with the taco paella, I am going to jump to the potluck taco casserole because they have a lot of the same ingredients, so why not use the bowl that we just dirtied? Believe me, I know they sound very similar and they do have similar ingredients, but it is worth making both, I promise you. Now I'm gonna open and strain 3 cans of pinto beans. I love adding beans to our meals. That is such a great source of protein. The kids love them. They ended up tasting just like whatever it is you're making. They absorb all the flavor. And it's just so good for you. And it is a really inexpensive way to add a lot of nutrients to your meal. And it is a great tip for making something for a large group. For example, when I make a meal for a large group, sometimes I make chili. I will put a ton of pinto beans and kidney beans in my chili recipe, and that really stretches the beef a long way. When I host just my intermediate family, we've grown so much now. There are, I think, 9 grandkids for my parents. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 adults. And so that's just my family. So cooking for them can be quite expensive if you don't put in something like beans. It is a great way to stretch a meal. We have our pinto beans and our ground beef. While we're working on this dish, I just realized that I really need to start our pasta. We don't have anything on the stove, and we want all of our appliances to be working for us while we're doing something else, because that is efficiency. So I'm gonna fill this pot with hot water. We're gonna get our spaghetti cooking so that we can do that on the next meal. By now you all know I am a brown rice girl. We use brown rice spaghetti. You can use whatever you like, but this is what works for us. I don't love the way that brown rice sticks together, but the health benefits outweigh the small annoyance. So I always break my spaghetti in half. Okay, so that's working for us now. Let's get back to our taco casserole here. So this is looking great. I'm gonna add some onion. Red onion. We're gonna do some yellow onion with our garlic. So now I'm gonna put these into my pans here. I'm making double servings, but you can definitely use an 8x8 and split them up into 4s. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of rice to this because I'm looking at how much I have left here for the other recipes. It looks like we have some to spare. So, just gonna mix that up. Rice never hurt no one, especially brown rice. Totally optional and not part of the original recipe, but we love this Trader Joe's organic spicy taco sauce. So I'm going to drizzle this on the top. We're gonna make that cornbread topping. So I'm gonna put a whole 2 bags in. And then 8 eggs. And 2 cups of milk. We're just gonna whisk all that together. You know, I can't just let anything be the way it is. I have to next level it. This is Korean red pepper powder. It is more sweet than spicy, but I think it would add a really nice taste to this. So we are gonna add that in. Feel free to add more corn to this mixture. We're simply going to pour this mixture, onto the top of these 2, and then they will be done. So when you do end up cooking this up, what you want to do is make sure you have all the taco ingredients. For example, shredded lettuce, tomatoes chopped up, sour cream, guacamole. And so you basically scoop everybody a piece of this into a bowl, and then you can top it with your taco ingredients, including some fresh cheese, and it is seriously really good. And it's a great way to be able to take something that is taco themed to a potluck or somebody's house for lunch, whatever you choose. Okay, so we're gonna put these aside and we're gonna start on our next meal. Woohoo! Okay, it looks like our spaghetti is done cooking, so now we are going to strain it. You don't want to overcook your spaghetti because remember, we're going to cook it again in our little casserole. I am going to rinse this just a little bit because remember, it's brown rice. It's not regular pasta. Olive oil to the top in hopes that it won't stick together in clumps, but let's face it, it's going to. But a girl can hope, right? All right, so let's start making our ricotta mixture for our $1 million spaghetti. All right, so we're gonna put our ricotta cheese in. that aside for just a sec. We're gonna get ourselves some fresh parsley here. And I'm gonna use a really good handful. Okay. So that's good, and then we have our Parmesan cheese that we're going to freshly grind up, and we're also going to put in some sun-dried tomatoes. So let me pop up a couple of these. Add some extra flavor. Sun-dried tomatoes are incredible. They add so much to a meal. So I just cracked my eggs into this container since I had it. And we're gonna add them straight in. Let's make ourselves a little bit of room here. Move over, guys. Okay, so in goes our tomato and our parsley. Okie dokie. First, we're gonna put some olive oil at the bottom of our pan. Whoops the daisies. And then this is the bolognese sauce that we made together yesterday. I'm just gonna take a tiny bit of that, put it in the bottom of the pan too, and then just kind of use a measuring cup to slide it around. And this is just basically so it doesn't stick. Okay, so then we're gonna take our pasta, which is one big clump. Exactly what we expected. If you're using regular pasta, this shouldn't be a problem at all. This is just simply because it's brown rice. So then we are going to take our bolognese sauce, mix that up. This is seriously the best bolognese sauce you will ever taste. Want to kind of flatten it out, make sure all of the pasta has a little bit of sauce. The last thing you want is for this to be dry. We are going to add our ricotta mixture. So you can see it's kind of a mix between spaghetti and lasagna. Now, since I have this giant block of cheese that I want to use up before it goes bad, I'm just going to put a little bit extra here. You could put mozzarella if you like. I am going to top this with mozzarella. So I'm saving that for when we cook it. But there's no harm in putting a little extra Parmigiano in there. one more of these. Maybe we'll eat that for dinner tonight. Yes, sirree. Move all of our other ingredients over here. I'm gonna make another one. They look fabulous. And we are gonna set these aside. This one I'm gonna keep for dinner tonight. I will top it with fresh mozzarella right before I bake it. So I just wanna show you guys that we still have some bolognese left, which is awesome. I will take this and put it in the fridge. And if we need it as just a little bit of extra topping to the ones we already made, I will use it for that. And if we feel like, or if we feel like that is good enough the way it is, I can use this on another recipe. But this stuff never goes to waste. And also it freezes super well. So if you have any left over, put it in your freezer and save it for another time. Okay, so a little kitchen prep that I forgot about yesterday was our green bell pepper. So I'm just gonna chop that up really quick here. I always chop my bell peppers from the bottom. It allows me to see the inside and just kind of carve right down the bell pepper and get the most out of it. Okay, we have this big bowl of beef that we're working through. We're going to use half of this for this recipe, and then half for our sloppy joes, and that should be it for our beef. We'll move on to our chicken. So we're gonna add that, and then we need a can of tomatoes. It's just checking the recipe. It says undrained, so we're gonna put the whole can in. And then we need a can of chilies as well. Put the whole thing in. This is a big can, so I'm just gonna use one. For the chilies, I'm gonna use 2. Got our beef, our canned tomatoes, our chili. Okay, we're gonna add some rice. I'm gonna reserve just a little bit of rice for our sloppy joes. I know that that's not traditional, but we like to get brown rice in each of our meals. So, alright, now we are gonna add our peppers. We're gonna add some beef broth. I'm gonna add just a little bit of onion powder, a little bit of garlic. I am going to add a little bit of Korean pepper powder. Remember I said that's a sweet one. And then we're gonna add chili. Chili powder. And then a pinch of salt, maybe one more. And some fresh cracked black pepper. I'm gonna mix this all up. This one is all ready to put into our containers. And you can put some Monterey Jack cheese on the top of this when you're baking it. But for now, we're gonna leave that so it doesn't dry out in the freezer. This one has a little bit more liquid with it, so be careful. This one is kind of like stuffed bell peppers, but all cut up, which is kind of nice, especially if you have children or grandchildren that you're cooking for. I think sometimes stuffed bell peppers is a little intimidating to kids. It's perfect. We're gonna start on our Sloppy Joe's recipe now. So I'm turning on the stove. We are gonna put some olive oil in the pan. We're gonna get that hot enough to cook, and then we're gonna put in our yellow onion. I'm gonna use a little bit of red onion since I already have it chopped. Why not? And then we're gonna get our peppers sauteed and ready to go. I cut these peppers up just a little bit finer for this recipe. No one really wants big chunks of pepper in their sauce, but finely diced is perfect. Turn that heat down a little. Add a little bit of salt, fresh cracked pepper. Gonna let that all soften, and then we'll make our sauce and add our beef. Okay, so you want to add your tomato sauce and then your mustard. Don't be afraid to add water to get the last bits of everything out, because you can always cook that water off. I am going to add, oopsie, the rest of this ketchup here. This recipe actually didn't call for ketchup, but I love the acidity of the vinegar. So we are going to add that in. I am going to put a fourth cup of brown sugar in here. Give this just a little taste test. It's really good. It needs a little more sweetness. You guys, don't be afraid to taste your food as you go along. Really, it's better that you taste it and can fix it and tweak it now than not liking your dinner when the time comes. Okay, now we're gonna just taste again. It was much better. Okay, so now we're gonna add the rest of our meat here, all that ground beef. I'm gonna add just a little bit of the rice that's left. This is about, I'd say just a cup. And that way it all absorbs. In the end, you won't even know what's rice and what is meat. So, okay, onwards and upwards. Now we are going to make our chicken tortilla bake. This one is gonna be super fun. So I've chopped up some cilantro. I already have some frozen corn. Okay, so we're gonna chop up our chicken and add it to the bowl. Okay, and in here I have cream of mushroom soup. I have some yellow onion and some red onion too. I am also going to add, I thought I pulled it out, but I guess I didn't, some of that cream of chicken soup that we made together yesterday. I'm only going to use a little bit because we're going to reserve the rest of this for our next recipe, which is the broccoli chicken casserole. Duh, my hands are all my hands are all slimy from the chicken, so I can't open it. What the heck? I promise I'm not a weakling. Come on. For real, guys. Ah, there we go. Don't tell anybody that happened. Put that in here. Mix this all together. I'm gonna use a butter spoon here. See how great these bowls are? No matter what you have in here, you can use it to mix it up and not worry about things falling out. That's awesome. We're gonna add our chilies. And I'm gonna put one more can of mushroom soup. Just adding a little bit of garlic powder, even though we have the fresh garlic already in there, and a little bit of onion powder too. Okay, so now we're gonna put these down. I am gonna put a tiny bit of olive oil in each of them, just so that the tortilla doesn't stick. So we have our little tortillas here, and actually I think I'm just gonna kind of rip them in half so that I can easily place them where I need them to go. Again, feel free to use 8x8s if you're making this for a smaller crowd. Repeat with your tortillas. Okay, I'm going for a third layer here. Okay, we got 3 layers out of this on each of them, so that is perfect. When you go to cook it, we're going to top it with cheese, of course, and then another trick I like to do is I take these tortillas and I break them up really small, and then I put some olive oil on them and some salt and even pepper sometimes, and then broil them in the oven. You have to watch them very closely. I have started them on fire before. But watch them very closely and they will all bubble up and become so crispy. It is absolutely delicious. And then you can sprinkle that on the top with some sour cream as well. It'd be really, really good. I'm just chopping up the rest of the chicken, but I have to show you something really cute. Sammy is sitting there waiting for me to drop a little something. Let's pretend like we'll drop one for her. Oh no. There you go, Sammy. Was that delicious? Okay, so this next recipe is an award-winning chicken broccoli casserole. Of course, I have my own twist on it, and today I don't have cream of broccoli soup, but I do have cream of mushroom, and I think that'll be absolutely delicious. So we are gonna start with that. And we are also going to make our own stovetop stuffing to go on top of this. So I'm really, really excited to show you that. Okay, so we're moving on with this recipe. It is our last one, and then we get to enjoy some of our cooking. Angelina is back here doing some dishes for me. She's a sweetheart. So we're gonna add our cream of mushroom. I'm gonna put 2 of those in. And make sure you get all the good bits from the bottom out. And then this is our cream of chicken soup that we made together yesterday. Don't ever, ever, ever use this stuff in the can from the store. Once you've tried this, I promise you'll never go back. We're gonna add the rest of our onions and garlic, since this is our very last cooking meal together today. And last but not least, the star of the show, the broccoli. Mix that all up. Got a nice big spoon here. Here's my cracked pepper. We're going to do just a layer of flavor with our garlic, a little bit of onion, and we're going to use a pinch of our Korean red pepper. Just a little. Okay, now it's time for you and I to make the stuffing. All right, we are going to get some butter into this pan. Darn it, well, I let the butter get a little brown, but that's okay. Hopefully it's just an extra layer of flavor. We're going to cook up our carrots, our celery, and our garlic. Get them all nice and sauteed. Going to add a pinch of salt, fresh pepper. Let this cook down. We're going to add in some oregano. Okay, so onto the breadcrumb portion. I have these saved over from our sourdough bread. Whenever a piece goes stale, sometimes I just toss them in olive oil and throw them on the stove for a couple seconds, let them cool, and then I put them in this bag. So I have all of this left over, but you can use your own breadcrumbs. So we're gonna put these in our bag here. And I'm going to use the leftover cream of mushroom. And then Angelina just thawed this for me. It is my own chicken stock. I'm going to put that in too. You want all of the bread to soak up this yummy, delicious flavor. We're going to add 3 eggs. The eggs aren't necessary, but they do add a nice touch. So we're gonna give this just a couple more minutes to soak up all of that flavor, and then we're gonna add it to the pan that we were cooking our onions, carrots, and celery. All right, so now we have our breadcrumb mixture with the egg. We are gonna add that to what we were making before. We're just gonna let all of these flavors marry up a little bit. I'm not gonna cook it too long because we don't want to cook the egg completely. We're gonna put this mixture on the top of our casserole so it will cook in that process. For now, we just want everything to kind of come together. that. We made our own stovetop stuffing. I promise you will never eat the boxed stuff again after trying this. And you saw this wasn't really that hard. You just kind of have to think ahead all the time when you have a homestead that you are working with. So good. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. Gosh, that's really yummy. But like I said, when you're using everything that you have, you do have to think ahead. So next time you have some bread that's gone stale, keep it. You can even throw it in the freezer. Okay, this is perfect. So this is our broccoli chicken mixture. I am going to add this leftover rice, peas, and corn. That was actually from a dinner we had not that long ago. I'm gonna add that to the mix. It's not part of the recipe, but we are using up space, using up the things in our freezer to create space. I'm also going to add this bag of frozen vegetables. Mix that up really nice. Oh, this is going to be a great dinner. So now we've got our 2 containers here. Fill them up and top them with our stovetop stuffing that we made ourselves. Ooh. Remember all that raw broccoli. It's going to cook down in the pan when we take it out to cook it for real. So don't worry about that. Now we're gonna top it with our stovetop stuffing. Whoa! Don't want to waste any of it. Although Sammy would be a happy recipient. There you have it. We just cooked ourselves a whole month's worth of meals. That was fun, wasn't it? I hope that you try this too, because this is just amazing. You will see how much it frees yourself up to do other projects when you don't have to worry about dinner. So today we made taco paella, $1 million spaghetti, sloppy joes, broccoli chicken casserole, potluck taco casserole, and beef and pepper skillet. These are all very different meals that are going to be enjoyed at different times during the month, and we can rotate through whichever ones we feel like having for the day. You can always make a fresh side with any of these, but none of these actually need it. These are all one pot meals, so you can cook it and be done. Of course, you're going to want to buy some rolls for the sloppy joes, and you're going to want to top everything that needs cheese with cheese at the time of baking. Again, we don't put cheese on top of the food until we're ready to bake. Otherwise, it just kind of dries out in the freezer, and I don't love that. So remember that tip. I am so proud of us. Look what we did today, and we did it together. Thank you so much for following along, and thank you for choosing to spend your time with me today. I really enjoyed it. If you don't mind, like, comment, and subscribe. Maybe share me with a friend. I would really appreciate that. Until next time, I hope that you stay well and that you enjoy cooking some of these meals yourself in the kitchen. Please leave a comment down below if you have tried any of these yourself or if you plan to make some of them too. I will see you next time, friends. Bye. I have one more tip for you. If you live in a cold climate, let that climate work for you. Sometimes I take my freezer meals outside on the patio and just let them get cold outside first before I put them in the freezer. That way when I do put them in the freezer, they're already solid and I can stack them easily on each other without getting them crushed below the other one. So that is a tip. I already put foil on those. That is a tip for you if you live in a cold place. Make sure you're using everything that's available to you.